All right, so today we're going to go over the Enviolo app that is the companion to the Enviolo Hub on this ICE Sprint X Tour, and basically how it functions and what you can use the app for. Okay, so on ICE and some of the other brands that carry an Enviolo Hub, which is an internally geared hub, there's a really nice app that Enviolo has brought to market that allows you to basically interface with the hub, do some diagnostics, set it up for your type of writing, and what your preferred cadence and shifting parameters would be. So we're going to go ahead and start from the beginning. So what you'll do is when you turn on your Shimano system, it's going to then turn on your hub in the back, and then when it does, it's going to populate the serial number for the hub. We're going to go ahead and click on that. It's then going to synchronize and tell you, yes, I want a pair. So whether you have an Apple or an Android, this is what it's going to look like. And then this is where, if you want to, you can fill in all of your personal information. We're not going to go ahead and do that at this time. We're just going to go ahead and say save. And it's going to say save successfully. So we don't have to worry about that. Now we're going to click on this X up here at the top. And then these are your 4 tiles that you're going to see when you enter into the app. So you're going to have configuration, diagnostics, logistics, and dashboard. So we're going to go into the first one here, which is configuration. And this is where you can set your ride profile. And with this system, you have 2 different options. You have, actually 3 different options, excuse me. You have comfort, eco, and sport. And you can set those accordingly if you tend to like your hub to shift a little bit easier. You don't want it to predict what you're going to do as much. Keep it in comfort or eco. If you want it to be really lively and responsive, that's where you'd select sport. So we're just going to keep it in comfort for now, just for demonstration purposes. And then under my settings here, you can choose a color profile for your settings, and you can notice it'll change the way the background looks. You can go to, like, say, green or red or blue or white. And we'll just go for yellow, since that pops a little bit. Units of measure, you're going to keep it either in metric or imperial. If you're not good at the conversion rate of miles per hour to kilometers an hour or all that, select imperial. And now that's going to come up with your RPMs in imperial measurements versus metric measurements. Automatic, you're not going to be able to change that really, because you don't have a manual option with this drive system. So you'll just keep it in automatic. Type of internal gear hub, you can't adjust that. Manual gear, this is where you can select what gear you would start in. Cadence, though, you can change. So if you kind of know where you are comfortable at with your pedaling stroke, as far as this is the spin I like to be at, Mickey happens to like his at 65 RPM, which is where we've set it. You can change it and go, all the way up to 120, which is pumping. And you can come all the way down to 50, which is, you're kind of a slower person. This is what's going to dictate when you upshift and when you downshift. So we're going to go ahead and set this back at, so we'll set that back at 65. And then cadence increment, that's going to be as soon as the motor senses that you are changing your cadence by 1 RPM, either faster or slower, it's going to shift you into the next gear range, either up or down. You can also set this to 5. So if you want it to not shift as fast, set it to 5 RPMs, which is any difference between 5 up or 5 down, it will downshift or upshift accordingly. So we'll just leave it at 1, because that's where we have it set. And then gear ratio at start of ride, that's going to be the gear range that it's going to have you at when it notices that you've come to a stop and you're trying to go again. So we've set it at 0.75. You can go as low as 0.5 or as high as 1.2. 1.2 is going to make it a little bit harder. 0.5 is going to make it a lot easier, so you're going to be pedaling away a lot quicker. This would be also too where you disconnect your device if you want to disconnect your phone from the hub. And then down here, this is the bar that you want to pay attention to. So Recalibrate Hub interface. Anytime you make a change on the configuration tile, it's just good practice to then say Recalibrate Hub interface, which when you do that, it's going to give you a little bit of a tutorial and prompt on how to spin, and it's going to tell you to pedal a little bit faster, and you'll hear your hub start to engage and start changing gears, and you'll feel it in the crank set. And that's just going through its shifting parameters to adjust for the changes that you've made in the configuration tile. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a calibration of the hub. So I'm just going to change the desired cadence. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bump it up to 75. And then I'm going to say recalibrate the hub interface. It's going to say start calibration. And you can hear it. And there it goes. Now it's all of a sudden gotten harder. And there we go. And now it says the calibration was successful, and it changed my cadence from 65 to 75 RPM. So now as I go and ride this bike, theoretically out in the parking lot, it will adjust my shifting to when I hit 75 RPMs, it'll upshift, or I fall below 75 RPMs, now it'll downshift for me. So that's how you would do the recalibration through the app to change settings so that you get the shifting parameters you want. So now I'm going to go ahead and exit out of configuration. And logistics and diagnostics, I wouldn't really worry about too much as a just normal trike rider. The other tile that will be helpful to you would be the dashboard. And this is going to show you if you don't, if for some reason your display goes out on your Shimano, which I can't imagine it would, or you don't run like a Padrone or some other computer, you can use this too to see your speed. You can adjust your cadence here. So if you want to bring your cadence up to like 70, now it's going to change right here. It'll say 70 RPMs is where it's going to sense that, oh, now I need to upshift, or, oh, well, we're down below 70, so now I need to downshift. And then you can change it. Let's go back to 65. And then that's basically what it's looking for. And then this also up here, this little A with the circle around it with the arrow is automatic. Because this is an automatic shifting your hub, you have no option for a manual setting. And then now if you want to go back to the tiles, you'll click on this gear right here, and that'll take you back to the configuration. Exit out of this again, and now we're back into our 4 tiles here. And I'll just go ahead and briefly go over these two. So we'll start with logistics. This is where you're going to, again, it's going to take you back to entering all of your information if you want to save your information if you needed to give Enviolo any feedback or something like that, or Enviolo needed your information. This is where they'd get it from. Diagnostics is going to then, as the technician, this is going to be helpful for myself or James in entering into the hub and determining whether or not there are codes in there that we need to correct or fix. If there's any malfunctions with the hub, it'll tell us in this screen what they could be and what the possible source of them might be. And then also too, if we needed to clear something out that was just an intermittent fault, that's where we would come in here and use this to do that. And then it's also going to tell us all of our need to knows, like our calibration details, our hub interface status, any errors that might have shown up. And that's basically the breakdown of the Enviolo hub and its accompanying app that you can use to configure your system, troubleshoot, use as a secondary dashboard to your Shimano display. But there's your functions right there on how that system actually works and performs.